Hey, it's Cody. It's the beginning of September, and that means that it's time for my monthly books and decks video. That is sort of a look ahead at what I'm hoping to work with or accomplish in the month of September, while also closing out the month of August. Real quick, this August 2023 has been literally one of the worst months that I think I have lived through in years. Every single bad thing, I was gonna say every single bad thing that, you could imagine, but, even bad things that I couldn't imagine. I mean, this month, during, 1 week span, I had my husband wrongfully arrested while he was wearing his pirate costume for the Renaissance Festival. We were chilling. Well, not chilling, okay? My relationship with my in-laws is fucking terrible, and it's actually because they're fucking terrible people. I'm telling you right now, it's not fucking me, okay? I feel like that's a thing maybe a lot of people might say, but it kind of is them. This is not fucking me, right? We were taking my 13-year-old son there when he still had a couple weeks of summer break left before school started, and they had invited us to stay. They ordered pizza. Everything was kind of going well, but my father-in-law is horribly racist, okay? We have had, me and this man have gone rounds about this, and every time I see him, he has to make some, little pick remarks, little, comments and things all the time, just to see if he'll get a rise out of me. Considering that they financially help us a lot, I can't, at this point in time, just be like, absolutely fuck you, even though I kind of ended up doing that. It has been fucking a nightmare. So I walk out, this man is telling my son a horrible, racist, and violent joke. So I took a moment to, gather my bearings before absolutely losing my shit. To my credit, I did not lose my shit. I said to him, hey, Grandpa, it's bad enough that he might hear shit like that from the kids at his school in this hillbilly-ass town that we live in, but I'd really appreciate it if he didn't hear things like that from his grandfather. This man literally stood up, slammed his chair. We're talking, man-child tantrum level shit. He yelled and screamed at me about that's who he is. He said that I can't challenge who he is in his house. I don't give a fuck where I'm standing. He called me a bitch, all kinds of absolute bizarreness. My 2 younger children were also there, as well as their cousins, his 2 grandsons who are 3 and 7, from my husband's brother. So it was absolutely insane. One of the craziest things I've ever sat through. I was like, whoa. I just pretty much laughed at him, which I think made it worse. Also, I'm insane and going to get killed someday. So he likes to throw a little tantrum and then run away. So I came around the kitchen table to block his way so he couldn't flee to his room. Okay, absolutely fucking horrible. And then, all right, content warning, trigger warning for this part. Literally the worst thing I think that has ever happened to me in my life happened in the month of August 2023. The content warning is and someone's attempt to unalive themselves. If you do not want to hear this, it's going to be brief, but please go ahead and skip ahead a minute or something. After this, I don't know if it was connected, but my 13-year-old son did make an attempt to unalive himself. He was at a friend's house. He's fine now. He's okay. We're all good. It took an emergency room trip, a little over a week in a mental health hospital, a stay. This has literally been the worst month of my life, and the amount of I don't even know, man. I haven't even felt like myself. I'm pretty sure that I have summer depression. Some people have seasonal winter depression. Mine is in the summer. I have a really hard time with bright sunlight and heat and just, I already have a fucking hard time with that. And then, like, things that I've been waiting for, like the release of a book, Hozier's new album dropping, like, it sort of stole that away from me because I found I didn't give a shit about anything. So that was a really depressing start to this video, and I'm sorry that you had to listen to that. Anyway, I guess that brings me really quick to one of the two good things that happened this month, and that is Hozier dropping his new album, Unreal Unearth, which Hozier, I think, is my favorite, like, mainstream musician. I love his shit. Okay, listening to his new album, I've slowly gotten better from the horrendous fucking month that I've had. I've, been making strides toward, I don't know, getting out of bed in the mornings. And listening to that album, it, like, knocked me out of my body for a few days. Like, I stopped existing as a human for a while. It almost felt like listening to... Okay, no, not listening to. Have you ever touched an electric fence? Like, the ones that are supposed to keep cattle in? I have one of those for my goats because goats are bad shit. And maybe a wall outlet would shock you this hard too, but I don't know. I'd never gotten shocked by one of those. But like, when you touch it, getting zapped like that feels like getting kicked everywhere in your body at once. Like, it doesn't even make sense, but that's kind of what it feels like. And that's what listening to the new Hozier album felt like to me. Like, that shit beat my ass so hard I, like, fell out of my body and, like, fucking straight out of space and time Gandalf style. So if you haven't listened to it, please do yourself that favor. Okay, this was like literally 7 minutes of bullshit at the beginning. Okay, all right, we're on to books now. The first one, this is Labyrinths Heart by M.A. Carrick, which is actually two separate authors working under this pen name. This is the third book in the Rook and Rose trilogy, and the last one. I am almost finished with this book. I have been very excited for months and months for this to come out. Again, I recommend this series so hard. I love it so much. Yeah, there are cards in here that are similar to tarot. They're called pattern cards, but there's also like spreads in here, sort of. So I'm thinking I might, maybe I'll bust out the camera and try a couple of the spreads just to see how they work. I mean, I can't imagine they wouldn't. They seem really solid. So I am still finishing this up. All right, the next book I have here it was a reread. I reread House of Salt and Sorrows by Aaron A. Craig. It's creepy. Like, there's a lot of romance elements in it, which I'm really not a fan of, but I am a fan of the horror elements in it. I felt like it was done delicately and just done very well. The reason I reread this is because, now turning to books that I'm going to be reading in the month of September, this is the sequel to House of Salt and Sorrows. This is House of Roots and Ruin. I'm pretty excited to read this. Also, to my surprise, my copy had like these sprayed edges, so I thought that was pretty cool. So I'm excited to read that. And also, the book that I'm most excited for coming out this year is by V.E. Schwab. This is the last book in the Shades of Magic trilogy. And then there's not really a spin-off, maybe a spin-off. I mean, still the same kind of main characters, but it's the first book in Fragile Threads of Power, I think, or just Threads of Power. I don't know. It's going to be another trilogy coming out. That one is being released on September 26th. These are absolutely some of my favorite books. I fucking have been obsessed with them on and off for years. This is the last in the Shades of Magic trilogy, A Conjuring of Light, that I will be reading this month in like preparation for the next one to come out. This is also a special like collector's edition copy, so I do have to show off. This one says Enoche on it, which does not necessarily mean goodbye. It means like until next time. We've got some absolutely stunning artwork in here. It's just so I recommend these books too, if you haven't already been recommended these until you want to fucking barf. Alright, okay. That's enough of the book shit. Okay. Oh, look, it's also got like a little ribbon bookmark thing. Okay, now we are on to the decks. Sorry about all of that shit. Okay, first deck that I'm going to be working with in September, this is the Memento Mori Lenormand and Oracle deck by Cleargood Child of Black and the Moon. So if you have not seen this deck before, the way that it works is that it is, okay, it's called, wow, this deck has so many cards. The way that this deck works is the original, like, base deck of it had the 36 or whatever Lenormand cards. I don't know, 36 might not be the correct number. I don't fucking know. But it, yeah, you could use as a Lenormand, but there were also additional cards that could just be used as Oracle cards. There have been expansions and things like that. This is all of it. This is the expansions. I have the Patreon cards. This deck is specifically designed for, like, spirit work. And I love that. I don't have any other decks that work the way that this one does. And this deck is irreplaceable, honestly. So, I guess, I mean, I don't know if you can tell by my, little cloth here, that it is firmly, fall in my mind now. And it has been since probably mid-July. I've been trying to sort of, you know, get a grip on that, but too late. And I guess that September is probably, that's as late as I can wait to be like, hell yeah, it's fall. So, so this is the Momento Myy Oracle deck, and it is, while I use this deck a lot from time to time, just throughout the year, regardless of season, really fall is the time when this deck gets the most use in my collection. Oh my god. How can I not deal with putting cards, like, the right way when I'm going through them? This is so big. I don't even know how many cards this is, but it's like, I guess I could curate this. Maybe I will. I don't know. I kind of don't want to because I like all the cards. I don't know. There's not really, like, repetitive meanings either, so it makes it difficult. Okay. Anyway, that's the end of that. All right, so I've gotten a couple of new decks this past month. One of them that showed up from a Kickstarter that I had backed in the spring is the Woven Path Tarot. A little bit ago, I had done, well, a little bit, I don't know, within the last couple videos, a little unboxing walkthrough of this. I'm really excited about this deck. This deck is one of those ones where each card is done by a different artist, and while a lot of times those can feel disjointed, this one feels very cohesive. Like, it doesn't necessarily have, well, I mean, it's different artists, but something about it, like, some decks I feel like that kind of takes away from it, but this adds to it, and I don't know how else to explain that. So, yeah, I have not, I just got this the other day. I haven't really gotten a chance to, like, dig into it. I don't know how I feel about the spot gloss on it, honestly, but it is what it is. I love this card. I really like when the strength card is a tiger. I just have always liked tigers more than lions. So, of course, you know, with any deck like this, there's going to be ones that you like the art style better than others. I mean, this is, like, really not my thing. But, like, again, I don't think it's bad. And there's something, I think, to be said for decks with multiple artists. When you only have one or two cards to illustrate, I feel like it ends up, a lot more thought goes into each card, just because it's not one person trying to make 78 of them. So I feel like there's a lot of symbolism. Each card is very, very well done. Like, cards, God, this card is so fucking weird. Cards that people, I think, I don't want to say get lazy on, but they don't necessarily worry about too much. Like the Eight of Wands is 9 times out of 10, it's going to be like the little 8 things coming from the side of the card. Or like, you know what I mean? There's some that just are always kind of the same thing. And decks with more than one artist kind of tend to avoid that, I think, just because, you know, if each person only gets one card or a couple cards or maybe one suit, that leaves them free to, you know, direct all of their creative energy into that one or those few cards. So I am really excited. I'm still on my like fantasy deck kick. So this one, like, I feel like there's such a story going with this one. Like, just any of these. You could just make up tales. I really like this one. Like, while the art style of this is cartoony and really not my favorite, just the idea of, you know, this goddess who may or may not be like a mountain or something coming and giving this kid money. Like, this card is fucking breathtaking. Okay, I'm just looking at this now. So, yeah, this was the Woven Path Tarot, which I am excited to work with. Got it back in there. All right, another new deck that I got this month is the Moonchild Tarot. This is the Shadow Edition. I didn't have the, like, one of the regular ones or whatever. So, yeah, if you didn't watch my walkthrough of this, when I first got it, I actually got this deck because I was hoping to use it to kind of connect with Aphrodite, which is a super weird deity to show up for me, but she has repeatedly for probably the last 2 years. So I decided it's time to just, you know, give in and see what she wants. I'm really into, like, this card, but some of the other ones not so much. Like, I don't really like this card. I don't know, man. I wish that, like, the darker... This is called the Shadow Edition, but, like, this is not very shadowy to me. I wish we had a lot more of this going on. I mean, that's not really shadowy either. But, like, some of these just kind of don't... Yeah, I don't like the kings and queens in this deck either. I feel like they should be older. But, yeah, some of these cards I think are just really cool. Like, these, definitely Shadow Edition. This, I don't really see what's shadowy about that, but I don't know. So, this is another deck that I'm going to be working with. I mean, not just, like, seasonally, right? This is going to be, the kind of deck that I'll be using on and off. All right. The next deck is The Local Honey Picture Box by Emily Wilcox. This is an Oracle deck and self-love toolkit. I've been working with this deck all the month of August, and I will continue working with it through the month of September. This is... Its Kickstarter is ending in literally just a couple of days. So I will stick the link to the Kickstarter down below if you're interested in checking that out. Calling it a self-love toolkit is so cool because that's really just what it is. Like, discomfort of growth versus discomfort of harm. Like, you don't find that sort of meaning, that sort of thought in any other Oracle decks. Like, I've never encountered something talking about that idea, you know, just that thread. Make room for opposites. Like, I think this deck is so well thought out. The artwork is interesting. The guidebook is fantastic, even though it's not like a big, huge chunk of a guidebook. It says what needs to be said, you know, and I think that it's really helpful. Genuine yes and genuine no. Like, I mean, some of these things are really things people need to work on. I'm fantastic at saying no when I don't want to do something, but boundaries, identity, and will. Inverse golden rule, do unto yourself as you would have others do unto you. Like, some of these are things that I definitely need to work on more than others. So, I'm a huge fan of this deck. I was really hoping to have a review of this up during last month of the month of August. But it's I don't want to say it's slow going necessarily. For me, this is not the kind of deck that requires drawing a bunch of cards to do a reading. This is more of like a one card draw for a situation, if that makes sense. So I don't want to prematurely do a review of this. Even though I'm loving working with this, I don't want to like run into something that I wish I had said, if that makes sense. So self-sacrifice is an ego trap. Fuck. All right. So, yeah. This local honey picture box, I will stick the link to the Kickstarter, even though you have like, I don't know if it's until Friday or through Friday, but yeah. All right, I got 2 more decks here. This one is the Ancestor Spirit Oracle cards. This deck was very generously gifted to me, and I had never seen this deck before, even though I believe it came out in 2021. I don't ever remember seeing this deck. So this is a very interesting deck to me because it's talking about ancestor spirits, but what we've got here is these are actual depictions of like specific things from different cultures. None of it's like secret practices or anything like that, but it does give information in the guidebook about, you know, what's happening in the card, what culture we're talking about, and there's keywords on here as well that sort of help you remember it. And I think it's a really interesting springboard to, you know, look more into some of these things. The artwork is beautiful. I think this is one of my favorite cards. Focus on children. Like, there's a lot of weird shit going on, like weird anti-child stuff. I mean, not that people that are like, I don't want to have kids. I mean, fantastic. That's fine. But when people are like, ew, I don't want to see children in public or shit like that, like that's, I don't know what's going on, man, but it's exhausting. Anyway, yeah. This is just an interesting deck. And I have not really gotten a chance to work with it too much yet. But I think as, like, spooky season and, you know, Calling Up the Dead starts, gets a little bit deeper and, I don't know. As we get a little bit deeper into that sort of season and feeling, I think that that's going to really be a useful deck for me. All right, the last deck that I am going to be working with for the month of September, I recently got the Momento Myy Tarot by Olivia Rose. Now, this is the same artist and creator as the Mermaid's Purse Oracle. I think that was a Kickstarter. And I kind of wanted it. I've been kind of on a water element... Oh, fuck. A water element kick lately. I don't know if it's the whole, like, Venus thing or what, but I've kind of been into the idea of trying to connect more with water. So I did miss the Kickstarter for the Mermaid's Purse. I think it's still available, but then I saw this, and this deck was, what are we talking here? Where's the price on this bitch? Okay, well, I don't see it, but I think it was probably like 25, 26 US dollars. And I was like, you know, maybe I should try out this art style before I'm, like, spending the money on an indie Oracle deck. I'm actually getting along really well with this deck, and so I'm thinking that in the near future, I will probably go ahead and buy the Mermaid's Purse Oracle. I think, okay, this deck is, like, cute without being cutesy. Does that make sense? I don't know. Like, the little creatures, I don't know. Maybe they're supposed to be fairies or something. In my brain, they're still, like, mermaids. So, this one pretty obviously is a fairy with wings, right? But, okay, that's some kind of air creature. I don't know. Something about this just makes me keep thinking that they're mermaids. So, I'm not going to stop doing that either. These, obviously, mermaids. I know it's called the Mind's Eye Tarot, but I wasn't necessarily prepared for like these creepy eyes looking from everywhere, and I think that's so cool. Normally, okay, I like dark backgrounds. Like, I would have had zero interest in this deck if the backgrounds had been like white instead of black. I think that these colors pop really nice against it, but also I'm a person who hates bright colors. Like, I feel like I have to like back up from them or something. So it's interesting to see. Okay, not that one, but like a lot of these are kind of muted colors, but they have like, they're very powerful against the black background, if that makes any sense. So I have really been liking this deck. Just from the little bit that I've worked with it so far. I think I've had this deck less than a week, so I haven't really gotten a chance to work with it too much, but I'm looking forward to using it during the month of September with Mabon or Maybone or whatever the fuck coming up. I just call it the beginning of fall. So, Empress. I love this shit. Mermaids. Okay. So that was some personal stories, some books, some decks. If you watched all this bullshit, thanks for sticking with it. Bye.